Alright, welcome back. It's been about half an hour or so. Now, it should have dried. You can test it just by touching your finger to a side. If it doesn't tack up on your stick, it's wet, then you're fine to go. Now, what you want to do is just take your clippers and just kind of clip off all the zip ties. Some of them are going to be glued. It's pretty hard to avoid. It's not a big issue. Just go around the circle. And you can just pull off most of your zip ties. Now, if they are glued, what you just want to do is pull up the glued end. It'll pop right off. And there you have it. You have a single completed solitary box. Alright, once you're done making your box, doing whatever you want to it, there's a couple things you can do to decorate it. This yellow one's pretty by itself, but a plain black one may not be as good looking. What you might want to do is paint it. What you want to do for that is you want to prime it. There's a variety of primers available in spray-on and paint-on forms. What you want to do is you want to prime your box by spraying it like I did here during the break. Then you just want to get some paint, some water, some brushes, which luckily I have right here. And what you want to do is just kind of take your brush, dry it off, do your normal painting thing. Anybody that's painted before, always work with a clean brush. Take some paint. For me, I chose blood red. It's going to be a really bright color that I think will make a neat contrast. Now, this is just a first layer of paint here. I'm going to go back in a little while and put another layer on there so it looks a little smoother. Because as you can see, the black is peering through. Now, you can leave it like that and make this kind of Art Deco style. Another thing you can do is melt or adjust your floppy. This is the open flame I told you about. Now, I'm not going to do this too much because I am inside and I don't want my fire alarms to start going off. But you can just take a regular lighter and just kind of melt the floppy drive. If you do it in the middle here, if you do it at the edge, you can actually cut off the edge. But if you do it in the middle, you can actually bend the floppy drive. Make a neat little warp effect. And if you'll notice, while it's melting, I can go like this, bend it up just a little bit. And if you hold it there for a second, let the plastic cool, you'll have a bit of a bend in your floppy drive. You do this a couple times, what you'll end up with is a pretty curve in your floppy. Now, one thing to be careful of is melting plastic. Do not let molten plastic drip onto your hands. It will hurt. It will hurt very badly. Trust me, I know. I have done that before. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But, as you can notice, the floppy's starting to get pretty bent here. You can just do that again. But if you notice, the outside of the floppy isn't bent all that badly. No creases, none of that kind of stuff. Just creates a little bit of a bend. You can also kind of melt corners of a floppy or do some cutting. If you got a wire cutter or a soldering iron, you can just cut lines into it, spirals, holes, any of that kind of stuff. Make pretty neat effects. Now, plastic does cool pretty easily. So what you want to do is you just want to make repeated effects. Like I said, be careful of getting molten plastic on you. That'll hurt. But if you do it right, you'll end up with a pretty bent thing. And then when remember I was telling you how to make a vase earlier and any of that kind of stuff? You can use this. So now if you got it, still a very, very bent floppy, even when I'm no longer holding it. But from the outside, looks pretty normal. So you can use that and this to create a vase on the outside. You can fix it in there. What you want to do with that is you can actually just use the drill to put another hole right here and just kind of attach that to a corner like that. Make a couple of these, make a little vase. So, doing that, you can create almost anything you like. Heck, make a lot of these cubes and make some cube art. Giant Legos. Something like that. But, as it is, you got a pretty neat pin holder, brush holder, whatever you feel like.